In this lesson, we're going to look to develop your formatting skills a little bit more using Microsoft Word. So the things we're going to really look at today will be the use of headers and footers, creating a hierarchy diagram, and then looking to create a mail merge. So three aspects that we're looking at today. So we're going to start with the headers and footers. So headers and footers are just another way to make a document look slightly more professional. And it's very easy to add in. If I just bring in a Word document here with headers and footers, all we need to look at is just the tabs at the top. We're used to using the page borders from last week. With insert, we've got different aspects that we can put in, and we're going to come back to some of these later on in today's lesson, like the shapes. But in the insert, we've got a header, and here we can tell the computer or the Word document what we want at the top of each page, and it just might be what the document is. So it's a piece of coursework. You can write this in here. I'm just going to put that this is my organization structure and close the header and footer. So that will just look grayed out. You can't change that. That's in the top bit of the margin. Down at the bottom you can insert a footer. Now you can do that the same way, insert footer, or you can just double click in the bottom section, same as you can with the header. But I'm just going to close the header and footer and just show that as insert footer. And when you go to insert footer, you get the different styles rather than just double clicking. And it could just be a page number, it could be to the day's date, it could be lots of different information. So I'm just going to go choosing one here that's got the page number. So I've chosen that style, and I can just put my name in the bottom, and it'll always appear on every single page, and the page number will go up. So I'm going to close that header and footer, and that was just a very quick way of showing how to create the header for a document and the footer for the document. The header and footer will be the same on every single page when you create further pages. So that's the first section that we're going to do today. So I'm just going to move this out of the way before moving on to the next section. So you will need to pause the video and just add a header and footer to your document. Moving on from there, we're going to look at hierarchy. And hierarchy means the order of something. So it can show the management structure of a company. So your company that you created, you can show who the boss is, who the supervisors are, and who the workers are. You can structure your hierarchy in that way. And to be able to do that, you go back to insert, and this time you're going to insert smart art. And the smart art that you're going to use is hierarchy. There's lots of different shapes in here if you do need to draw different diagrams in documents, but we're focusing on hierarchy today. The cycle ones are very good if you need to show the process of something in some coursework in the future or other work. But like I say, we're going to look at hierarchy today. Now I tend to use this one here, hierarchy, that's labelled here. It seems to work better than some of the others. Some of them are quite nice, but I tend to go back to this hierarchy one and click OK. So what it does, it puts the information in. And as we said, we could say the big boss at the top, the CEO, and what you can do is maybe you can put their name in there. So you might decide, so you are going to be the CEO. So that's the first section there. So you can put who the CEO is, and then you can say who the other people work for you. So kind of like some of the primary managers. And you can put these in, and I'm just going to say that this one is Mr. A, and this one is Mrs. B. So you can make the names up, and then Mrs. C there, Miss D, and Mr. E. Now what we've got here is a text pane on the left, so I can click my text pane and it shows where the people are. So this is the visual representation of my diagram here. So I've got CEO Mr. Lucas, and then I've got Mr. A, and I might have 3 people that report to the CEO. So I might also have Mrs. C that reports to the CEO. You can move these about by using the tab key on your keyboard. Now if you press tab when you select it on one, it will move it down a stage. If I click in here, and shift tab will actually move it up a level. So I said that I wanted Mr. A, Mrs. C and Mrs. B all up there on that level, and then I can have other levels. So after Mrs. D, if you press enter and I press tab, you can put a Mr. F down there, and by using the tab and shift tab you can move people forwards and backwards to the order they need to be in. So you might want Mr. F at a higher level than what he is, so you can click in here, shift tab, and it'll move it up. So you're going to create your structure, your hierarchy for your company that you've already been working on. Just move the PowerPoint forward. So you're going to create the order of management, your hierarchy, and we can see an example here that we've got an owner, and this is in a bar and restaurant. We've got a manager, a bar manager, the chef, and the floor manager. And the bar manager has a head bar person, and then bartenders and glass collectors. So the glass collectors and bartenders report to the head bar person, the head bar person reports to the bar manager, and the bar manager reports to the owner. So you can see how the hierarchy here works. Then likewise we've got a chef that reports to the owner, but the chef has kitchen staff that work for him. And the floor manager oversees the work of the waitresses and the cleaners. The owner also has a manager doing a lot of work for him. So you can see the structure of a hierarchy here for a restaurant. And like I said, you need to complete a hierarchy for your organisation, your company, or you can create one for a restaurant using this idea to support you if that's what you want. Just show you one more example, and here we have another hierarchy. So here another kitchen organisation, so executive chef with executive sous chef, so it's a bit more of a posh restaurant. We've got a pastry chef with a baker, a butcher, sous chef, a chief steward and a banquet chef. So we've got lots of different very fancy people working in this fancy restaurant. So that's how it is structured and how it all works. So you can create your hierarchy diagram. And then the third part lesson. So again, you're going to pause the video while you complete your hierarchy diagram before moving on to the last part, which is a mail merge letter. So you can pause the video and work, and then when you've completed that, we will do the mail merge letter. So a mail merge letter is you're going to write a letter to all the customers in the restaurant database offering them a discount on their next visit. And the first thing we're going to do for that is you need to create a table of customers, and I've got an example just here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. So I've just inserted a table and added my information into the table here. I've got Mr. Vin Diesel, lives at 22 Hollywood Road, Kings Lynn, his postcode, and here's the amount of discount I'm going to give him, and several other people. So you've got to create a table first, and I've just called mine customer data. So I'm going to save that and just have that in the background. I'm going to use that later. And then we're going to create a letter. So if I find a letter that I'm creating, if I can just find a letter, let's just have a look. Here we go. So I've written a letter, and the first thing I'm going to show you is how to add an address in. So I'm going to put the school's address in, which you might think is fairly simple to write, but the first thing is we're going to justify the text so that it's all on the right hand side. When I press enter, you'll see that there is a large space between each row that I'm pressing enter on. And for a letterhead, when we've got the address of a letter, this looks a little bit untidy. So the way to do this, if you look at the one below, it looks a lot neater when it's single line space. So at the end of your first row, if you hold down Shift and press Enter, it then just drops to the next line rather than completely double spacing it. So again, hold down Shift and you can put Wisbech in. Hold down Shift and you can put Cambridgeshire, and so on. So you can build up your address as I have previously. Then you put the person's address, you put the date in. So let's just change that to 21, 3rd of February 21. Then we can add in the person you're writing to, their address and the letter. So I'm offering them a discount for their support of the local community in the restaurant that we're running. So I've written my letter. Now certain parts of this are going to change depending who the person is, and the first part of that is the actual person. So what I've got here, I'm just going to delete this information and show you how to insert merge field. So let me just move this aside for 1 second. We're going to create the mail merge letter. We've got already our saved table of customers. That's the list of customers I've just shown you, and that's saved somewhere else. And we're going to merge this information into a letter. So we're going to write the letter with blank fields. So I can just here with my letter, dear, and leave it blank. And I'm also going to leave the percentage discount blank at the moment. So we'll come back to that. So what we have here is our merge field, dear whoever. Here at MHS Restaurant, we want to reward your customer by offering you a discount of however much on your next, and however much is the percentage discount on your next visit. Please bring this letter with you before, and then I've got a date in here, and discount will be automatically applied at the till. So that's what we're looking to create. So if we this week build up the information in your letter, next week we will be able to merge that information together and complete the letter. So that's the end of the video. You can now look to write your letter, and I can leave my example of my letter and my example of my data on the screen for you to have a look at. So if I just remove my face, you'll be able to see that information. So you can pause the video and use this as a starting point for your letter and for your data.